Hey, what's up, guys? Today I wanted to do a little video to show you how you can launch non-Steam Pinball FX2 tables through PinUp Popper front end for your virtual pinball cabinet. So, of course, PinUp Popper will launch Pinball FX, 1, 2, and 3 for you with little setup at all if you own the game on Steam. Um, but in my case, I don't own the game on Steam. I purchased my copy through Microsoft Windows Store. And there's a few different reasons why I did that. Personally, uh, I'm in a house of PC gamers. I have a gaming PC. The wife and my son also have gaming PCs, and we all share a Steam account. And the problem I was going to have is if I would launch a Pinball FX table on my virtual pinball machine and somebody else was playing, a regular computer game on Steam, it would kick them off of their game. And I really didn't want to do that. So I purchased it through Windows Store. That was really the cheapest I could find it. I believe you could get it on Epic Games as well, but Epic Games was a little more expensive. It was on sale at a Windows Store when I grabbed it. After buying the program, I learned that, Popper didn't want to launch it because it wasn't the Steam version. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys how to get around that using AutoHotkeys. Um, I included a zip file in the description of this video that's going to have everything you need, and we're going to kind of go through that. So go ahead and grab that zip file and let's get started. So let me just go to where I have the zip file contents. All right, so this is what's going to be inside of your zip file. You can have these kind of AutoHotkey scripts already there. These are the ones that I made for the tables that I own. You're welcome to use these. They should work out of the box. But I am going to show you how to make your own because I'm sure, people are going to have tables that I don't have. But anyway, what this is going to come with in setup files, this is going to come with AutoHotkeys 2.013 setup. You're going to have to install this first. We're not going to do that because I already have it installed. And it's also going to come with Joy to Key. You may or may not need this. I'll show you how to do it either way. Because Pinball FX2 does not let you reconfigure the actual controller buttons, and the encoder that I have in my virtual pinball machine, it acts as basically a joystick encoder instead of a keyboard encoder. So all my pinball buttons come up as a game controller, but Pinball FX2 only supports an Xbox 360 game controller. So we're going to use Joy to Key to convert those controller buttons into keyboard presses. So anyway, the first thing you want to do, of course, is install Pinball FX2 and set up your cabinet options. That way it'll fit your cabinet the way it's supposed to fit your cabinet. I'm not going to go through that. You should know how to do that already. Do all your cabinet settings in FX2 and make sure it works. Then install AutoHotkey. And as if you need Joy to Key, you could just copy these and drag them to where it needs to go. And I'll show you how to do that now. So, okay, so now that you have everything installed, you're going to go to wherever you have Pinball FX2 installed. I have it in just C program files x86 Pinball FX2. That's the default install folder. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to drag everything from Joy to Key. We're going to go ahead and put that into the root folder of Pinball FX2. We don't want to replace those files. We're going to skip The two files it's asking you to replace, that's the uninstall files. So you don't want to replace them. Okay, continue. And that's going to put, you see, Joy the Key in my Pinball FX exe folder. That's how you want to do it. Okay. Now, the next thing we need to do, and this just kind of makes the whole process of writing the actual script easier. You want to rename your Pinball FX2. See, it's called Pinball FX2.exe, but there's a space right here between FX and 2. We're going to delete that space. That way, Pinball FX2 is one continuous word. We're going to go ahead and save that. All right, now we're going to get to doing our script. Now, if you never used AutoHotkey before, you just, right click, you go to new, and then you could tell it to do a AutoHot script. It's actually not letting me do it here because my program files folder is protected, but I'll be able to do it over here and drag it over. You see, if you go to new, it'll say AutoHotkey script, and you want to click on that, and this is going to pop up where it says untitled. In untitled here, you would just put the name of your pinball machine. For us, we're going to just call it test. And then we're going to go ahead and hit create. And you see that's going to give me a test.ahk. Now, if you right click on that, you'll be able to just edit it with Notepad. And that's going to bring up your blank test.ahk file. Now, let's go ahead and open a different game that's already programmed, and I'll be able to run you through what we got going on. Okay, so let's open up South Park Super Sweet Pinball, because that one is it's kind of far out into the menu, because basically what this does is it's gonna automatically select the game for you. It's gonna move around. So when you get into AutoHotkey, the first thing you want to do is, you want to copy these first couple lines. It requires AutoHotkey 2.0. You have to have that. And then we're going to tell it to run joy2key.exe, and then we're going to tell it to sleep for 2000. That means it's going to sleep for 2 seconds. And then it's going to run Pinball FX2.exe without any spaces. Then we're going to wait for 5000. That's 5 seconds. Then we're going to sleep for 21,000. That's going to sleep for 21 seconds. And what that does, it's going to give Pinball FX the time to get through the intro splash screens and get into the menu where it's going to ask you to press a button to start the game. So we have to wait that long. And then we're going to set the key delay to 1. Now, the next part is what I kind of fought with a lot to get Pinball FX to register these key presses. You actually have to do each key press in 2 steps. So we're going to send enter down. So what that means is going to press the enter key down, and then you need to sleep for 250, and then you're going to send enter up. So what that does, it presses the key down and it waits for 250 milliseconds, and then it releases it. And that's going to get you into your FX2 game select screen. Now, this part right here, excuse me, this part of the script here, this whole beginning, is going to be the same for every single game you do, because you're going to have to make an AHK script for every single game that you want to launch. The beginning of code is going to be this exact thing every single time. Now, from here, you just tell AutoHotkey what position the game is on the menu display. Okay, so this South Park is going to be all the way kind of to the right. So that's how we're going to do that. So we're going to sleep for 250. Then we're going to do your one right press, sleep for 250, do another right press. That's 3 rights, 4 rights, 5 rights. So we're going to go right 5 times. So it's 5 games over to the right. And then we're going to sleep 250, and we're going to send enter down and enter up. That's going to select the game, the South Park table, and then we're going to send enter again. And what that's going to do is whenever you select a game on Pinball FX, it comes up with a sub menu that's going to ask you play the game, game settings, view high scores, all that bullshit. So you have to press enter twice. Press enter to select the game and then enter to start the game. Okay, so let's go ahead and get out of this test script because we're not going to need that because we're just going to run the script that we already have. So, and that's basically what you do for every single game. Like, for example, the very first game tile is Family Guy. So if we take a look at the Family Guy AHK, it's just pressing enter to get to the main menu, pressing enter to open the Family Guy table, and pressing enter again to start the game. You don't actually have to move because it's the first game you set on. And then like if you wanted to do Bob's Burgers, which is right next to that, you would go, you would press enter to get to the game select menu. You would press right down and then right up to move right one table, and then you would press the enter twice. And again, when you're doing this yourself, make sure for each key press you do the button and down, sleep for 250, and then the button and up. Again, down is pressing the button down and up is releasing the button. And you just enter whatever direction you want to do. If you want to move right, you enter right up or right down. If you need to move down the list, you would move down up and down down. And then you would make sure the button is capitalized, not the direction. So if you see here, enter is capitalized, then there's a space and the word down is lowercase. That's important too. So whenever you go to where you have to ship down to the lower level, it would be up, down. Up would be capitalized, down would be lowercase, and then you would be up, up for your next one. Up would be capitalized, the second up would be lowercase. And then of course, once you finish your script for that particular game, you would just save the AHK file. Alright, so let's go back to our AHKs. I showed you the example for South Park. Now, what you want to do with these when you're finished is you would just, I guess we'll just move. I was just going to move one, but we'll go ahead and move all of them. We'll go ahead and put those in the same exact folder as Pinball FX2. They have to be in your root folder. Now, I have to move these over because, like I said, my program files is protected. It won't let me make the AHK file in the program files folder. Depending on where your Pinball FX2 install is, you might have to make it in a separate folder and drag it over, or you could just be able to make it in the FX2 folder, and that way you won't have to move it. It'll just be there. All right, now let's go ahead and launch South Park Super Sweet Pinball, which would be a good example because, again, that table is off to the right. And I'll show you kind of how it does everything by itself. Now, let's go back to open this. Let's open up this script and let me show you one thing. If you do not need Joy to Key, if you're not going to use Joy to Key, you would just not use these first two lines. You would delete Run Joy to Key and you would delete Sleep 2000. That's the only difference. If you're going to use Joy to Key, you're already set up. You don't have to worry about it. And if you notice, there is no end script to close Joy to Key because you don't want Joy to Key to continue to run because it would mess up any other pinball programs you're running on your machine. If you're running virtual pinball or if you're running future pinball or something like that. But the script line of command that's going to close AutoHotkey is going to go in Popper. So Popper is going to close it. We just need to open it. So this is fine. All right. So now let's go ahead and launch South Park. Okay. All right. We're not worried about this, but let's go ahead and fix this with AutoHotkey. If you notice, you can go to settings here. On your first time you run AutoHotkey, you set up your buttons. You would just tell it to start AutoHotkey in minimize mode and hide from the taskbar. That way it's not going to pop up anymore. We'll go ahead and terminate AutoHotkey because we're going to run this script again. Okay. Alright. Now that the AutoHotkey is not going to mess with us, this should work like it's supposed to. I'm going to get towards End Studios. And this is why they have the sleep command, because it has to wait until the program's ready to do enter. You see it's going to enter, it's going to automatically move to the right, it's going to select the table. And there you are. Now your table's launched. So you're good to go. You could go ahead and play or whatever you want to do. Now, because Popper is going to handle the exit command, we're going to have to exit this with the mouse. But once you launch it in Popper, it's going to handle it for you. So let's get out of there. And I'll show you how to set this up in Popper, because that's a little different as well. Okay. So you have all your AHK files in your Pinball FX2 folder. That's all important. You'd make them again for every game. So now let's go into our PinUp folder. And I'm not going to have much going on in here because this isn't the computer I use for my pinball machine, so everything is a fresh install on here. You would go to PinUp Popper Configure, and then we're going to go to Popper Setup, Emulators. And then we're going to go down to FX2, and this is how you go about that. You see, this is, kind of pre-set up to run FX2 from Steam, but we're not going to do that. So where it says launch exe folder, that can be blank. On games folder, you're going to go and you're going to show it to your Pinball FX2 main folder. In my case, it's program files, Pinball FX2. Now where it says game file extension, we're going to be launching, you want to type AHK, because we want this program to think these AHK scripts we made from AutoHotkeys are the actual pinball tables. So you put for game file extension AHK. ROM folders, leave that blank. Media directory, if you want Popper to save the media in the FX2 folder, leave that alone. If you want to put it somewhere else, you're more than welcome to. Here's another thing you want to set on keep displays on. Now, FX2 does not have back glasses. So we want Popper to run whatever back glass video we put on display for our front end. We're going to tell Popper to keep that on 24/7. So it's not going to be, the black glass isn't going to play along with your game, but it'll be visible. It's basically going to be a video of a back glass playing while you play Pinball FX. Okay, so that's everything. Well, no, we can't forget to right here, emulator active. So we want to make the emulator active. Okay, now we need to go to launch setup. Now, both of these are going to be changed. This is your launch script. This is your closing script. Now, if we go back to the zip file, which I already clicked off of for some reason. Let's reopen our zip file. PinUp FX. Okay. Get this out the way. If you go into Setup Files folder, you'll notice there's two text documents here. There's a close script and a launch script. We're going to hit our launch script. We're going to copy everything that's in this. We just copy it. And then we're going to replace everything that's in launch script. We'll replace over that. And then you do the same thing for the close script. Copy everything that's in here. Copy. And we're going to paste that in the close script. Now, if you are not using Joy-to-Key, right here at the bottom, taskkill.exe-f-im space Joy-to-Key exe, that is the line of code that is going to close Joy-Key after you exit the Pinball FX table. If you're not using Joy-to-Key, delete that line. If you are using Joy-to-Key like I am, the table is going to open the program up. This close script is going to close the program. Okay, so once you do that, we're going to hit this check mark to save it. Go back to General. Just double check everything's good. And we're going to go ahead and close that out. You're good. Now, if you come to Game Manager, go to Game Manager, let that load up, and we're going to go to Add New Games. Now, right here, if we drop down MUs, and we pick our Pinball FX, and we hit Scan for Games, there is all your AHK files. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that. So it's reading all of those AutoHotkey files as tables. So we're going to just add them. American Dad, Archer, Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, Butters, South Park Super Sweet Pinball, Walking Dead. That's the tables that I own. Add those. Add games to system. Okay. Now, if you want to come to your media wheel and do the media for Pinball FX2, I said let's just do American Dad. You know, if you look in back glasses, you could find a back glass video. And like I said, this is going to be on all the time. So it's going to be playing in the background while you actually play the table. So then, you know, you would go ahead and populate everything that you want. I have a 3-screen machine, so we're going to do a back glass. We're going to do a DMD video. We're going to do a play field. And you could scroll through them and find which ones you know, you prefer. We're going to go ahead and grab our wheel image 2, American Dad, send Pinball. And then if you want audio running at table select, you would do audio as well. I'm not really worried about that. But you would go through and do that for every one of these Pinball FX2 tables. Then you go to close. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You are done. And now Popper will launch directly into FX2, and it will also close out of FX2 and close Joy-to-Key, where you won't need a mouse and a keyboard and all that bull crap. So yeah, in fact, I'm not sure if it'll work on here because this is just a 1-screen computer and I really didn't set it up, but let's go ahead and launch Popper and see how it acts. Now, I will tell you that it does act a little funny loading the table. Like the Popper loading screen will come on top of the Pinball FX program, but it is going to go away as soon as your table finally loads. So let's go to, let's see, where is it? Is it going to be in there? I didn't put it in a playlist. Okay, let's go to just added. And American Dad is the only one that has the artwork to it. That's the only one we did. So if we tell it to go ahead and launch American Dad,
Smith. Stan Smith.
You see, once your table actually loads, you know, that overlay on top of, you know, your popper overlay on top of FX2 is going to go away. And you see now the table's loaded correctly. You could go through, you could play. Whenever you're done, you would just, you know, hit whatever button closes out the game for PinUp Popper. And it's going to return to your popper menu and close Joy the Key. There we go. And that's it, guys. If you have any problems, you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments and I'll try to help you out, man.